What did you learn about the Conservative side of politics on the weekend, Andrew?
That's a good question, Fred. I think what I've learned is there's a yearning. There's a yearning to want to do something. There's this feeling that that we're in a bit of trouble, to be perfectly honest. And I get this feeling. I certainly know our American friends feel this, and Matt Schlapp and Matt Whitaker kind of alluded to this in their speeches. And I've travelled to CPACs around the world, and there is this feeling that there is this global kind of coordination to wind back some of the things that we take for granted. And so there's this yearning at CPAC to work out what to do, and we're hoping that we can be part of the mix of what to do. And there's also another thing. I think there's a lot of people at CPAC that love the Liberal Party, but they don't. They feel like the Liberal Party isn't loving them back at the moment. And then when I say at the moment, I guess I'm thinking of the last few years, the last couple of years. I don't think this feeling extends to the new opposition leader. I think it's really to do with some of the historical leaders of the Liberal Party, and I do get this sense that there is some upset at the Liberal Party. But I do have this feeling that it's because it's like if your child does something that you don't like, or you disagree with, or you're disappointed in your child, it hurts even more because you love your child. And I think there's some people that really want to see the Liberal Party get back on track. And if they do, then I think the CPAC community will swarm to them. And
I think that's a very good point you're making. And if there was a takeaway for me, it is that our demographic is at a fork in the road. Do they follow or try to revive the Liberal Party, or do they all scatter, into One Nation and Lib Dems and so on? Not that those parties are the lesser alternative. I don't think I have the answers, but there was a moment, while we're on the topic, there was a moment on the afternoon of the second day when former Liberal Senator Nick Minchin unwisely had a crack at the audience. He said that the Liberal Party doesn't need reforming, that it was free to be reformed from within if only people became members. Now, there was a lot of opposition to that, and Nick Minchin unwisely responded badly to the boos that he got. What I found unfortunate in that moment, Andrew, was that Nick Minchin in his political career was exactly the kind of politician we want now. He was labelled as a climate denialist and everything. He was from the right of our side. So what's your advice to people like Nick Minchin and people who are followers of our side of politics? How do we kiss and make up?
Well, look, my reading of that circumstance is that there's a little bit of there was a little bit of anger in the room around the recent circumstances. Now, those that are any follower of political life at all would know that Nick Minchin is not the problem with Australia. Nick Minchin is a warrior in an extremely successful Howard government, possibly the best one in living memory, and Nick Minchin is represents a lot of what I think most Conservatives want the rest of them to be. I think probably there was just a moment there where there was a failure to read the room, and the room exploded and didn't give Nick enough time to explain what he meant about, the Liberal Party needing reforming. Now, I think what he was going to go on and say was that the belief system, the philosophy underlying the Liberal Party doesn't need reforming. That the Liberal Party may have, and I don't mean to put words into Nick's mouth, but I suspect this is kind of what he meant. But there's an opportunity to get into the Liberal Party and recraft it in that sort of the image of that philosophy and that values that originally standed for. Unfortunately, the room kind of exploded at Nick because I think they possibly misinterpreted where he was going with his comments. So what it says to me is, I said, the communication is really important, right? Now, I wasn't happy with that response with Nick Minchin. I think I did try to calm that room down, and there's got to be a respectful discussion, particularly amongst cousins and brothers and sisters and friends. We're all friends. We're all from the same family. And just like all families, we may not agree with each other, but we've got to keep our family together. And splintering it by being disrespectful, to me, doesn't gather people up. It just drives people away, and we need to avoid that at all costs.